Why was the Quran revealed in Arabic? What is so special about it?
Okay, well, that's an amazing question that I did not find the answer for except when I studied the qira'at. The qira'at are the 10 modes of recitation of the Quran. And in my opinion, it is the main miracle of the Quran. One of the miracles of the Quran is the different modes of recitation. And only the Arabic language, because of the diacritic marks, which is the fatha, dhamma, and so on, only the Arabic language can accept the qira'at. Recently, I took a Hebrew course. And I found that in Hebrew, there is also diacritic marks, like dagesh and stuff like that. And then I said, okay, then the Quran could have been revealed in Hebrew. And then I found that diacritic marks were recently added to the Hebrew language by Maimonides, Moshe ibn Maymun, at the time of Salahuddin al-Ayyubi. So it's only the Arabic language that can embrace the main miracle of the Quran, which is the modes of recitation, the qira'at. There are two main types of variations between the modes of recitation. Like 70% of the variations, they are just performance. They do not affect the meaning. Like, for example, saying al-ard or lard or al-ard. Okay? This is just performance. At the end, it just means al-ard. Al-ard. At the end, it just means the earth. But there is also some variations that affect the meanings. Like, for example, فَتَلَقَّى آدَمُ مِنْ رَبِّهِ كَلِمَاتٍ فَتَابَ عَلَيْهِ. فَتَلَقَّى آدَمُ. Adam here is the subject. But there is another قراءة, قراءة يعقوب, no, قراءة ابن كثير المكي, Imam Ibn Kathir al-Makki. It says, فَتَلَقَّى آدَمَ مِنْ رَبِّهِ كَلِمَاتٌ فَتَابَ عَلَيْهِ. The first قراءة, which we usually read, means, then Adam received words from his Lord and repented. The second qira'ah makes Adam the object and the words of the Lord the subject. It means Adam was received by the words of his Lord and repented. What does that mean? How can words receive a human being? It's very artistic. And at the same time, it affects your tarbiyah, how you upbring yourself and your heart, how you purify your heart and mind. The first one, Adam is our representative in the Quran. Tells you that it is the duty of the human being to use the words of God and repent. It is your duty to repent. But even if you repent, the second qira'ah tells you, even if you repent, it's not you who did it. It's the words of God that received you to repent. You see, mind-blowing. So different meanings, but they do not contradict. And the whole meaning is the combination of the layers of the meanings. This is mind-blowing. And that's what we did when we pondered the Quran live during the pandemic. Actually, we pondered the differences of the qira'at.
So couldn't this be done before the Quran in the Arabic language? This many layers of meanings in poetry, for example?
Well, it was never done, but if you want to speak about what happened before the Quran there was no Quran. There was only poetry and prose. And this is the main miracle of the Quran. Before the Quran, there were two types of Arabic language, poetry and prose. Prose, it's normal text. Yeah, when you write an article, this is prose. You can write, some people write like Shakespeare. He wrote very eloquently, yeah? But this is not poetry, it's prose. So either poetry or prose in any language. The Quran was added as a different type. It is neither poetry nor prose. That's why in our translation of the Quran, you will find that the unit of text is not called verse. Ayah is sign. Verse is the unit of text in poetry. Sentence is the unit of text in prose. The Quran is neither poetry nor prose. It's a different type. So what happened is when God challenged the Arabs to bring a Quran like it, they couldn't. So he gave them a discount. Okay, bring 10 surahs. They couldn't. He said, more discount, one surah. One of the surahs of the Quran is only 10 words. Surah Al-Kawthar. They still couldn't. Actually, it's not they couldn't. They did not try. So they did not even try. They did not dare to do it. Though many of them were great poets. Why didn't they dare to do that? Because they saw that the Quran is different. It's like a different language using the same letter set and same words of their language, but it's like a different language. They don't know how to do that. So it's a different formula, different construction of the language.
So you said that Allah challenged the kuffar, and also, of course, it's in the Quran. And even with these new technologies, artificial intelligence, no one can meet this challenge. So how can this happen, really?
AI, artificial intelligence, does what? It uses the existing information to come up with the best solution. Let's assume that, okay? Which is true to an extent. So if AI existed at the time of the revelation of the Quran, it would challenge with the existing types of Arabic language, which is poetry and prose. It would have never also met the challenge by challenging the Quran, because the Quran didn't exist before. You understand? So that's actually the poets of the Arabs. They are like artificial intelligence, or even more intelligent when it comes to Arabic language. And they did not even try to challenge. It's a different language, but with the same words and the same letter set. So artificial intelligence cannot even meet that. Okay, it's not about rhyming. It's about the new renewing formula in the language, renewing constructions. Show me how can you renew something, but don't quote me and tell me that you're challenging me. Let someone do that. No one did that. Even those who tried to do something, they just used the formula of the Quran. No, the Quran renewed formulas, made new construction formulas. Show me how can you do that. You have the language. Show me. That's it.
Why does Allah use sounds like Alif Lam Mim, like ABC in the English language, or Taha, like Huruf Muqatta'a in the beginnings of some surahs? What do they mean?
Well, these separate letters that come in the beginning of 29 surahs in the Quran, there are many opinions about it. And because the Prophet ﷺ did not tell us what it means, no one can say for sure what it means. But there are nice opinions that I'm going to tell you. Is that it has to do with the challenge about the Quran. Allah challenged the Arab poets and masters of the Arabic language to come up with a Quran like this, or 10 surahs, or even one surah, and they couldn't. So Allah is challenging them in those surahs by starting with the same letters that they are using in their poetry. And then what actually strengthens this opinion is that nearly in many of these surahs, actually exactly 26 out of 29, Allah speaks about the book, about his ayat, after he mentions these letters. Alif Lam Mim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ, and so on. But there are 3 surahs that Allah does not mention the book, like Surah Al-Rum, Surah Al-Ankabut, Surah Maryam. But if you look, Allah speaks about miracles directly after the letters. So the letters not necessarily about the miracle of the Quran, but they are about the miracles. So for example, in Surah Al-Rum, Alif Lam Mim, غُلِبَتُ الروم غُلِبَتُ الروم في أدنى الأرض وهم من بعد غلبهم سيغلبون في بضع سنين. It means the Romans were defeated, but after their defeat, they will be victorious within بضع سنين, means that less than 10 years.
3 to 9 years.
Exactly. Yeah, about 9 years. Let's say 9 years. بضع سنين? Why are you putting this restriction on Islam? If the Prophet is authoring the Quran, don't put that limit. It's a miracle that Allah, number one, foretold a future event at a time that no one could have said that. And the Prophet was just making this Quran himself, or authoring the Quran. He should have avoided saying this. And if he says it, he should not say within few years. Because like that, what if it didn't happen? Actually, the Quran says within less than 10 years. The Romans were collapsing everywhere, and the Persians were taking over. They took over Egypt itself. They took over everything from the Roman Byzantines. So it's like saying at the time when the USSR is vanishing, that the USSR is going to be back within less than 10 years. Oh, that's a big responsibility, and you are risking your actually credibility like that. Alif Lam Mim here had to do with this miracle. Kaf Ha Ya Ain Sad. What comes after it? ذكر رحمة ربك عبده زكريا. It speaks about the miracle of Prophet Zakaria having a baby while his wife was barren and he was like 100 years old or something. Oh, come on, that's a miracle too. And the last one is Surah Al-Ankabut. أحسب الناس أن يتركوا أن يقولوا آمنا وهم لا يفتنون ولقد فتنا الذين من قبلهم فلا يعلمن الله الذين صدقوا ولا يعلمن الكاذبين. Allah speaks about the resurrection of all human beings to be tested. Actually, that's a miracle. This shows the might of Allah. How can billions of people after death be resurrected?